Okay, it's recorded now. So, we gonna get jumping into it. We don't have no plan today, really, folks. We glad y'all tuning in. What we had, 300 likes on Twitter for this. I think Shipley said 70 downloads. Shout outs to y'all for downloads. I know we three of them. So
that's
here go three of them.
Right on,
So,
that's all right.
Yeah, we got three of them on here, but we've kind of still geeked up from this past weekend. There's a lot of things going on this weekend. I'm gonna go backwards. I'm a Browns fan, so Baker came back, and what Brent was that about, man?
Nah, it was a fly.
It was perfect time,
man. I rock with the Browns.
Yeah, man. So I was scared. Baker came in there, it wasn't looking good, but we just do what Browns do. But we won that game. So I'm like, that ended my weekend well. I don't know how y'all NFL teams did, but what started the weekend off, was Iowa State. And at first I want to kick this one off by, having a moment of silence for the 8 years that we have been losing. So right now I want to start off by saying that's past. We are starting anew. It's like that ticker, when there's no accidents at a plant. They got that where it starts over on day zero. We starting over right now. Like we have won. We have the CyHawk trophy back at the Jack. It's good to say that.
Definitely congratulations to the Iowa State football team, and definitely big ups to Coach Campbell for getting that first win. I know that's a huge monkey to get off his back. To have so much success. We talked about it last week, to have so much success and just not be able to get that one. That one is always nagging at you, always nagging at you. I went 1-3 against Iowa, when I was in school. I lost my freshman year, lost my sophomore year, but boy, that junior year, it was something else to get that W. So I definitely know how they feel. The game was ugly, but nevertheless, the trophy is back home in Ames, and we celebrating that.
Yeah. And big, even though we gloating right now, I always want to send a shout out to the Hawkeyes when the game, when when they do the wave and they wave at them kids, it's a moment, and the way that Kinnick Stadium is built, where those kids on those levels get to see that, get to be a part of that. And then we as people, we as a community, no matter what the house divided and stuff is, we come together and wave at the kids together and become as one. So that's that one moment when the state is not divided. It's a beautiful moment, because after that, what it is. But shout out to them for what they do in that wave. I've participated in it one time, as an Iowa Stater. But I don't know if you all have participated in that, Brent. You played there. Y'all aren't out during that time, are you?
No, I haven't. I've never been a part of it, man.
Yeah,
I've never been a part of it, unfortunately. But
yeah,
that is something I do respect them for a whole lot. That's about it. But yeah, that's something I do respect them for.
Yeah, and at this time we need that. We need that. So, we're gonna get into the fact we already stated that we won. So we won 10-7. Marcus said it wasn't a pretty win. It was a win. A win is a win. That's all on the column. It doesn't matter.
Real quick, before you get into it, I had a couple people come to the shop, and one of our avid listeners, I guess he's a Kalachi guy too. He said came up with a couple of nicknames for you, Pfizer. And
okay.
Was,
hold on.
You got a pen?
Let's go.
Big play Curvey. So what we got?
My man said pile driver Pfizer.
Oh.
Okay. I was like, that's okay. And then the other one was monstrous Marcus Pfizer. I said, I'll let him know. I'm sure he'll be listening to this episode too. So shout out Denny that came in and gave the names.
We're gonna have to get a poll on that. We're gonna have to start something on Twitter to see.
So that you just read my mind, and the sweeten deal on that, whatever name Marcus and the crew chooses, we're gonna throw in a Trice Legacy polo.
Okay. Okay.
Now, and I'm gonna wear the polo at the next episode, so you see the polo if you haven't seen them. But I'm gonna wear my polo next week, and we're gonna put a poll out there. We're gonna have our host, Three Bears Media, put that out there for us. And we're gonna get some names for you, Marcus.
Yeah, I need one. I need one.
So, you know, I was thinking like I wasn't Hollywood, like, you know, how some people know you as Hollywood.
Yeah. Shout out to Cool Carl, Carl Cassell. Carl gave me that nickname my freshman year when I was going through the rigors of what is Tim Floyd and Iowa State University and practicing and everything like that. So I was feeling down that day coming down to the cafeteria, and he just yelled out, "What's up, Hollywood?" And he lifted my spirits, and it's stuck ever since. My wife hates it though.
Oh, dude.
And she hates it. She absolutely hates it. But everybody else called me that. She frowns, but it's fun. Yeah, big shout out to the big bro.
Yeah, so I mean, it made me think about that because 2 weeks ago I was in Chicago with Peter Runge. So PJ, so we always say, "What's up, Hollywood?" To Hollywood, I said, "What's up?" But I think about you all and y'all connection there, and I was trying to think, man, what was my connection at Iowa State? And Marcus, I don't know if you knew and remember the dude driving around campus with the blue SHO. So that was me, that royal blue SHO. Everybody knew it said Trice on the license plate. I parked it and got many tickets and had to fight about, you know whose car that is, but so I kind of coined myself this today when I was looking at this, George the Show Trice.
Oh my God. See, look, he already got
okay.
That fact. That fact. He's been working on that one.
It came out. It was voila. It was like rent and 10. They don't know one son, they don't know. So
I'm lacking big time.
Man, the Show Trice. All right.
Yeah, so I got mine, I got mine this episode. Brent got his first episode, so we're gonna have this poll up so we can get yours by the third episode.
I'm with it.
That's gonna be our call sign. I was watching Maverick earlier today. Those are our call signs. So we got Big Clay, we got the show, and audience, our 300 followers on Twitter.
We need it.
Our 70 downloads. Jump in there, help us name them. We'll call you out, whoever the winner is. We will send you a polo from the Trice Legacy Foundation. Maybe Coach will get you some kolaches. So
yeah, I'm with it.
We got all kinds of things.
Coach will donate some kolaches for the cause.
Hey man, we got it. And so before we start this thing, we got a shout out. So I got my bottle here.
Oh my!
Some honey Rebelton. So I do have my bottle here. So we want to shout them out for sponsoring this.
You boys behind.
Hey man, I was out of
I need
time.
to fill my glass up some more.
Hey, you boys behind.
I got my G Trice glass right here, so I'm gonna put that in there.
That thing sweet. You already see me on it.
I know.
That thing sweet. That thing smooth.
It is.
Shout out to Chip. I talked to him earlier and told him, I said, man, that whiskey is something else. Real nice.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna try that. Hopefully get down there soon to see y'all at Rebelton. If you have not checked them out, go ahead and check them out down there.
Sure.
So as we get into this again, we try to start this off with the stats and things like that, but I want to start it off a little bit different today.
Let's go.
I was reading a quote, and it was from Hutchinson. He said, "Our whole mindset was one play at a time. When the ball comes to you, just make a play." Now, everybody know I'm from Cleveland, but I'm not a the Ohio State guy. And Urban Meyer was there at Ohio State. And Nationwide has done some partnerships with some groups. Nationwide did a partnership with this company called Factor 3. And they wrote a book with Urban Meyer, collaborated on their methodology and what he did as a coach. And it was called Above the Line. Great book. But one of the things that he said in there, when you think about football, and he said 4 to 6, A to B. A football play on average is 4 to 6 seconds, and your goal is to get from point A to point B. That's it. And then it restarts. And so I thought that with Hutchinson saying that and talking about they were thinking about that one play at a time, it is that survive and advance mentality and figuring out this is what we got to do right now. Because as I think about this, one of the other things I was reading or listening to the audio book, Will Smith's books. Now, he lost a lot of fans with the slap, but I started listening to his book before that, and I got through it. And it was one of the things where he was told by his father, he and his brother had to rebuild this wall in the back of the shop that they owned. And this wall was destroyed, big cinder block wall. They kept looking at this wall. Damn, I got to build this wall. damn, I got to build this wall every day. Dad, I'm tired of building this wall. A couple days pass. Dad looks at the wall and he's like, y'all need to start thinking about that damn wall. He said, think about laying this brick perfectly and then laying the next brick perfectly. And then as perfectly as you can. And by the time you're done, you're going to have that wall.
Right.
I think that we, for the past 7, 8 years, have been looking at this wall instead of looking at this point A to point B, 4 to 6 seconds, putting that brick as perfectly as we can. And we came out and did it. So I just wanted to throw those two out as we start this conversation on, what y'all saw of the game. I didn't see a lot. I had to watch some highlights because I was in a wedding during it. So, I was limited on it, but, I've been watching everything about it. So, y'all jump in here.
I mean, from my point of view, man, I looked at special teams and how that's obviously played a big factor in, honestly, all of the games, because we've been in pretty much all of them, I think, except one in the last 8 years, outside of 1 or 2 major special teams plays. And it almost happened again. However, I think this time we fought adversity a lot better than we have before. So you can see that mentality kind of creep out where it's like, it was a bad play. It's we call it the old 2 claps. So the first clap is, damn it, I messed up. The second one, we move on. So you can kind of see that with these guys. And, they just kept putting one foot in front of the other and kept trucking, because games like that, man, that was an ugly game, just from the standpoint of there wasn't a lot of chunk plays. There wasn't big runs. Everything was grind. Like, you had to grind everything out. Yeah. So, those games aren't as exciting. People don't really like to watch those either. And to be honest, I hated to play in them. But it's one of those, it tests your mettle, though. If you really play the sport and love the sport, that's when you show it to everybody else that you can actually grind and, pull it out. So as gritty as it was, there wasn't a ton of highlights on either side. I think, Xavier made his plays when he needed. When his number was called, he answered. The same with Jarrell Brock, I think, when his number was called, he answered. He made a lot of key plays. And the defense, our defense is lights out, man.
Orion Vance I think Orion Vance is going to be one of the players to watch on the defense. He showed it in this game. We talked about, bringing out and highlighting somebody. And I was looking at Orion's, overall what he was doing out there. And he was doing what he had to do on that defensive side, him and that line. And they were there. They were there, the ones that helped us to stop this because of the offense wasn't there. And in the past 2 games, you look at Iowa only scoring 7 points, their defense has been stellar. So we knew this was going to be a grind out game, and our defense had to show up. If our defense could show up and stop Iowa, then we could do minimal offense. I think sometimes we just our defense has not been there all the time.
But yeah, games like that are typically hard to gauge, no matter what, because there's so much emotion, so much feeling that's before the game, during the game, and definitely a lot of emotions afterwards, if you win or lose. So I'm sure they prepped extremely well all week long for the game. The weather wasn't anyone's favor. It wasn't on anyone's side that game. It was a lot of slip and slide in the rain that was coming down, but that comes along with football. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you just have to grind it out and keep it close. You never know what's going to happen one moment to the next. It could be a straight open pass that slips right off the guy's hand and pops out and squirts out to the other guy's hand, and then it's an interception going the other way. So it's one of those games that's not pretty. It's not going to be pretty, but it's the ones that you got to, dig your cleats down into the ground and get all the traction you can, and, hope to make the little key plays at the end is going to, put you on top. And, the name of the game is to have more points than the other team. The defense came out and played extremely well, and, made some big plays to make that happen. And, I don't care if the score was 3-2, as long as we come back with that trophy.
Yeah. No, you bring up some good points, and one of the things, we look at this, coming off summer, coming off 2 days, coming off, getting ready for it and having one game before this game. I have said this for a few years. We need to have this game later in the year.
I thought the same.
because in the past, this one has, again, if we win, like in the past, if we win this game, our season is kind of mediocre sometimes. That's what it's been. We just have this like this 6-6 season. We have this season. If they lose to us, typically then they go out there and they just mad and they just beat everybody and they look better than they actually are. And I want this game later when we actually have played a little bit, gotten our footing under us, and do middle to the last part of the year. Right. Weather a little bit cooler, more unpredictable, where it's like, no field is a home field advantage except for the fans. And our fans travel, they fans there. So one day I want this to be like the Florida-Georgia game, it's in a neutral site every year.
Site, I'm about to say, why isn't it at a neutral site? There isn't no neutral, there's nowhere in Des Moines to play that game, or somewhere in between, or it don't matter. Take it to Chicago. Some kind of neutral site. That would be a big game. I guarantee the stadium be filled, so you got to worry about that part. But in order for it to be, that type of game, who does that? Oklahoma and Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't they play at a neutral site? Yeah. They have to. They have to because in between of how big that is, I think this game could be exactly the same.
Yeah, because I was looking at some things like with Seneca being back, it brought back some memories because I saw him and I'm like, I'm gonna go back in my feelings a little bit. I remember when we played at Arrowhead and we played against Florida State. Now I was in row 3. We won that game. Seneca scored. I'm just gonna say it out there. We won that game, but that was a neutral site and it was a team coming from down south, and we went down and met them a little bit part way. But figuring out something in some way to make this a bigger game, because this game is big for the state. K-State has been our longest rivalry in football in the Big 12, but the Iowa game has been that in-state rivalry that everybody has just come to say this is a big game. And then just like we showed up in Vegas for the bowl game or against UNLV, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna show up. So that's what I wish one day.
Yeah, I missed that game. I had COVID.
Yeah, we missed you. I think we called you a couple times. We was out there.
Yeah, y'all rubbed it in a little bit.
But they did what they had to do, and that's why I like that quote by Hutchinson, because again they had to grind it out for this game because Deckers was 25 for 38. He was completing, but through 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions, our defense came through to stop that. It could have been a worse score than it was. Rushing didn't have a lot of yards rushing. Again, Brock, we mentioned his name all the time. Deckers had to scramble a little bit because that defense was good. So that's a positive thing out of there, that we saw that Deckers can move a little bit when he needs to. He got an 8-yard run. He can get out there and run a little bit when he needs to. So a little bit more mobile, but I think he was shuffling a lot and getting that ball off to still have the completions he did. So, I saw some other things out of him than just his arm cannon, because the first game I just saw him slinging that boy and, everything was hitting. And this one, he had to showcase more of his game. So did you all see the same thing?
I did. I kind of saw, him not playing in this big game. I think he stepped up and showed what he was made of. But his leadership was great. He had a chance to kind of tank it. You know what I'm saying? He threw 2 picks in a big game, but he came back and was still slinging it, getting it 2 places. And to be honest, Iowa's defense is elite. Like, I won't take anything away from their defense. They are elite, very opportunistic when it comes down to it. And the fact that we didn't allow them to score on a pick or whatever, I think that tells a lot to the growth in the team from years past. But Hunter showed what he probably won't face another defense like that, to be quite honest with you. That the secondary is that Phil Parker has those guys dialed in. And in the Big 12, you may see Oklahoma that has a decent secondary, but everybody else is just athletic and kind of depends more on that than technique. So I think as we go forward, he's going to shine a whole lot more. So the hard game is over, if you ask me.
Yeah.
To get that game like that on his belt, like I said, with the weather being as bad as it is, to be a young player, to get that W so fast, it does give him a lot more confidence And that's what's needed, especially from a quarterback that's, that has the reins now and is going to look to do some big things. His completion, could have been a little bit better if the weather wasn't so bad, a couple of interceptions and things like that. But, we're going to chalk that up to the weather and just know and understand that this week, practice was a lot more dialed in. We got that one under our belt. That's something we don't have to focus on anymore. So we're going to get ready for the rest of the season and, hopefully things pan out the way that we expect them to. Our defense can continue to play well. Offense, steady gelling. We know Hutch is going to be there in the clutch when we need him to be each and every time. And we're looking forward to big things.
Yeah, no, y'all hit on it, and you're 100% right when you look at, what you said about get that one out the way.
Yeah.
I equate that like in golf, you get that breakfast ball that you just came out, you swing and you get that boy and it go like 2 yards, into the high grass and you ain't gonna find it. So you lost the beat. So, you get those jitters in that first one, and he got those jitters out. And although our schedule is a tough schedule for them, it's always a good schedule. We always have a good schedule. But by him getting that and riding that confidence in, and then getting another not easy game, but another game where we're favored, we should be winning this game, against Ohio next week. That kind of helps him to get that momentum, be more comfortable in there so that he is comfortable as the season goes and as these games against top 10, top 25 teams start to come on our schedule. So, we do play Ohio next week, and that is an 18-point spread. So we favored 18 points in that. I don't know, we were favored for the Iowa game. I think that was an even game, if I'm not mistaken. But we're favored to win this game. So, I didn't see Ohio play. They've won one, lost one. So we don't know much about that team. And that's the one thing that is hard when you go into a game, especially like the Iowa game, a non-conference game. You got this non-conference game and you don't see that team all the time. You don't play that team on a regular. You don't know their schemes. You don't know what's in their conference. You don't know those things. So that makes those dangerous games, in my opinion.
Definitely dangerous, especially after coming off an emotional game like that too. Be it that's a big time state rivalry and all of that good stuff. Just got to make sure that, going into this week, which I'm sure Campbell will have them dialed in, that, that game is over. Like, we got to move on and move forward, because a lot of the good teams, they'll finally get that one big win, and then that next one, they tank it, right? So yeah, that's why the old saying, the Iowa people say, well, this is Iowa State Super Bowl. Well, because back in the day, it used to be like that, right? Yeah. So Iowa State would get that win, and the next game it was we might get drugged. So I think that's kind of worn off now with the new coaching staff, but that's something that they have to be very, very careful of.
Yeah, we're definitely a different program than we were in the past. I mean, even when I came in my rookie year, my freshman year, the basketball, football program, everything was, in the state that is not in now. Let's just say that. So it was definitely an honor to be a part of that. That's definitely an honor to be around those teams. With the 99, 2000, 2001 teams that that laid the pathway of what has been to come as Iowa State University football. It was a lot of teams. There was a lot of people joking about how good the football team is, and to see where it's come now is something that I'm definitely proud of. Definitely watch each and every time that I can get a chance to, and loving the things that they're doing there. Very, very respectable in the Big 12. Definitely not being seen that as the Kansas or anything like that in the football side of the Big 12. So to know that we've come from so far back. I remember, the games against Nebraska and the K-State and Nebraska was some powerhouses, So to see them being able to compete and teams knowing you're not going to come in, or we're not going to go into your home and be a lay down. We're definitely going to come with some thunder and going to be competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, we have come a long way. Campbell and his crew have done a good job. So as we kind of go and we look at some things to watch for next week, I'm just looking at some things. I'm trying to get some predictions out there. They favored us by 18 points, but when I look at the stats of Ohio versus our stats, they give up 42 points per game in the first two games. We have not scored 42 in either of our games. We're averaging 26, but we had 42 in our first win against SEMO. I'm looking that Hutchinson might not be as big a factor this game and more on the shoulders of Brock because they give up double, like 500 yards rushing. 518 yards is what they're averaging giving up, 167 rushing, 351 passing. But I'm looking at the fact that I think Brock's going to be more of what we're going to have to use because of the way that these stats show Ohio how to play. So, what do you think Brock needs to do to really showcase himself? We know what he did. He had a touchdown, 200 yards, two games over 100 yards. So he's doing his thing right there, getting 100 yards a game. I think that streak's going to continue, and I think he's going to showcase and show some more things this week.
Yeah, I think he'll. I think he'll jump. I was kind of looking at, like you were just doing, looking up some of the stats from Ohio, and looks like they like to throw the ball quite a bit too. So, and I'm not sure if that's out of necessity, but I know against us, if our defense plays well, they will have to throw the ball to keep themselves or bring themselves back in the game. Which obviously on the other side of that gives Brock a lot more carries. So, I kind of look at our backfield. I don't know, get at least a buck 50, 200 yards this game.
Okay.
If we go up and score, you know what I mean? I think, they give up quite a bit. That was almost 500 yards of total offense against FAU. And I think offensively we can do that quite easily. And again, not to take anything away from them, but I think we go up early and then, it's one of those, let's keep the ball away and, kind of show them who we are type of thing. And we run the ball down the throats for the second half.
And don't apologize to Ohio. We are an Iowa State podcast. You watch the NBA TV.
Oh yeah.
You watching it on NBA TV and it's the opposing teams channel. Oh, you see how it's slanted. So we can slant the way we want to slant here. And I think the fans want us to slant. I'm trying to bring that energy slant. Let's slant it. It's Iowa State all day. And I really wish, I'm glad this is not video and being recorded. It's going to go maybe on the YouTube, but I don't have nothing Iowa State on. Marcus, you the only one with some Iowa State on.
What you mean? I'm rocking, man. My shirt is black, baby. I'm in there.
It's all me, but I got Rebelton. I got Rebelton. I got Rebelton. Man, hold on. But we didn't see, what we got here.
He
ready?
My God.
Always got it.
It should be around the shoulders or something.
This was a prop. This was a prop in my office. I did this on purpose. I've been planning this all day. I'm chilly out here in Arizona. Storm is coming. So no, we can slant it up. We can slant it up, But
I know there's a lot of that on the Big Ten network that the game was on last Saturday, where I think one of the commentators mentioned something about Iowa State being behind the 8 ball and the score was 7-0. And then the very next play, Gary Vaughn got the strip, and Will Madonna picked up the fumble, so that changed right then and there. So I was like, man, you can't talk too fast now. You talking about we're behind the 8 ball, the score is 7-0. Like I can see we were down 21-0 and it was in the third quarter. But definitely, whatever the podcast is or whatever the network is, they definitely pull for your guys, and that's definitely what we're gonna do. Unapologetic.
No doubt. Yeah, so the game is going to be on ESPN Plus, Big 12 Network next week. 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 o'clock Central Time. I know the game the following week against Baylor is an 11 a.m. Central start. Iowa State, I love you, but it's a Hall of Fame weekend induction, and there's an event from 5 to whenever, and you have all these people coming in town, and you want them to be at 11 o'clock game. So if I don't know if we can ask for sponsors, but Red Bull. Do
That's tough.
or Monster or something.
That's tough.
Listen to us. We need some of that. We need some of that because it's gonna be a good weekend for some football these next 2 weeks. And being able to do this, and I'll be at that game, so I actually will have a lot of insight for the Baylor game. Next week I will not be at that game, but I know that Iowa State has tickets available, and I think I just saw an email coming to me today for I think $22. They're trying to pack the jack, and I think it's $22 for some tickets that they still have left at that. So if you haven't checked out the Iowa State webpage, go out to the athletics page and see if you can get some tickets there. Take the family, take the kids, take the neighbor kids, borrow some kids, do what you got to do in order to get the stadium packed. But we appreciate everybody listening in and us talking through what we did last week. Looking forward to next week and the future that we have here with Iowa State football. Basketball is around the corner. WNBA is wrapping up right now. And once that wraps up, it starts to get to training for our college guys. So be on the lookout for that. I know we're going to talk about that. Get your opinion on Omaha. See what you think about our recruiting class and some of these big names. I've heard some good things about them, but looking forward to how we can grind it out and do some Iowa State basketball. But as we wrap up this show, and we talk about Three Beards Media, we talk about Revelton, we talk about, I'll throw my plug out for the Trice Legacy Foundation. Brent, you throw out what you got to throw out to the fam.
Yeah, man, Coach Kalachis, y'all come see us, man, Wednesday through Sunday, all AM, so 7 to noon during the week, and on the weekends 8 to 1. I'll be there every day. That's
what's up. And Marcus, what you representing for us?
Well, the biggest thing, the number one thing that's dear to me and my wife's heart is our foundation that we're starting, the Hunger Lows Foundation. We fed the homeless around here in Las Vegas area for the last 7, 8, 9 years. And we've done it in a way that no one has known about it. That's particularly the way you're supposed to do it. But God put it on our heart to start a foundation. And what Hunger Loaves is basically, we had the kids and they were, making sandwiches and things like that for the homeless. And then, the idea struck, it came to me about, when I was a kid, growing up in Detroit and Louisiana, we used to just eat light bread, white bread, as a kid, just stay outside all day long, get a couple bucks from our parents and go to the store and just eat bread all day long. So that's the concept behind it. Hunger Loaves, we go out and pass out loaves of bread to the homeless, because if we make them a sandwich, they eat right then and there that one time. But if you give them a loaf of bread, they can eat a couple times or a couple of days, down the road, because the bread is not that perishable or anything like that. So that's one of the things that we're doing. Again, Hunger Loaves, it's on Instagram, the foundation me and my wife are starting, and definitely looking forward to doing big things with that. Like I said, there's a lot of homeless communities out here in Las Vegas. We just want to make a change and do something to be productive in the neighborhood.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm gonna find a way for the foundation to support you and what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
I have my annual golf event, and next year it's going to be, June 16th up at Coldwater up in Ames. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is I was going to do a 50-50 raffle, but I'm going to do a 50-50 raffle, and I'm going to give the proceeds to you for your foundation.
Appreciate it.
People that come out to support the Trice Legacy Foundation, you will also have an opportunity to support Marcus and his wife's efforts out there in Las Vegas and help them expand and do more work. So I promise you on that, my brother, for there.
Thanks.
So, and then for you, Mr. Brent Curvey, I'm not gonna go by your call sign yet till we all get one. But I'm gonna support you by coming and buying. I've never had one.
Right.
One of the goodness when I come in town, I get in town next Thursday before the festivities start. So my first stop would be into the shop to get me a little bite and see what you got. So maybe get like a sampler platter or something like that.
There it is, man. We'll make it happen. I mean,
in
the spirit of all this, my partner and I have actually talked about finding some organizations to kind of work with and donate to. So we'll have to chat it up here, Marcus, to find a way to work together and contribute as well.
For sure. I appreciate that, fellas. And you know, I definitely looking forward to get one of those galoshes. I've never had one. I've never heard of one before now. I've been a vegan here the last couple of years, but I definitely, you know, it's just a different, you know, healthier way of a lifestyle in terms of where you get, you know, the meat from and things like that. Now, you know, my dad is an avid hunter and things like that. And so if it's a cleaner type of meat, then, you know, I partake in it. But, you know, stuff that's coming out of McDonald's and stuff like that, you get that far away from me. But, you know, definitely looking forward to being a part of, you know, working with you guys and, you know, merging in together the things that we're doing and, you know, changing this world for the better, man.
All right, that's what's up. You know, it's all of us supporting each other. That's how this got started, to support our parent corporation, Three Beers Media, was, you know, reaching out and building a relationship with Ship, you know, and he's gone through his things and we're here to support him. And that's what friends and people that should be doing, supporting each other. You know, and so as we look at this podcast, you know, if we get more people listening to us, you know, you don't like the content, you like the content, subscribe, let us know, give us feedback so we can grow on this, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you what you want, not just what we want to throw out there. But what this episode is the wrap up for the Iowa State game. You know, go Cyclones. We all got our representing it on it. Let's keep this season going well, fellas, and roll us into the next one.
Yo, one last thing. Special shout out to the Iowa Methodist Hospital. One of my close friends worked there, Erica Seltz. A lot of her coworkers was giving her a hard time. They were Iowa fans. So I told her we definitely going to have a surprise for them after we get this dub. So Iowa Methodist coworkers, this one is definitely for you. That CyHawk trophy is back in Ames, and that's where it's going to stay.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, well, that's what's up. Y'all got anything else y'all want to add? If not, you know, we will lock this down and close this episode out.
Yes, sir. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones. You know, y'all take it easy.